Thank you everybody for coming on here. I appreciate it. My name is Tom LoFaso. Our company is TLo Productions. We like to laugh and say it's like J-Lo, but with a T. Today we're going to talk about content is king, frequency is the crown. Another word for this is going to be high velocity dominance. It's all about the frequency. It's all about putting yourself out there, right? In 2025, things have significantly changed, and now it's 2026, right? If you're running your business like it's 2023 with marketing tactics, you're probably invisible right now. So today I'm going to show you exactly how to run your local social market in 2026. So let's jump right into things. Let's go over to that next slide if we can. And we're going to talk here about the trap of invisibility. All right, cool. So this is really great. I have a very real world scenario of the trap of invisibility, but I will just read what it says here for anybody who may be just driving or listening, for all those AI bots that are on here. It basically is just saying that traditional agencies move very slow, right? Or maybe you're just one of those businesses that don't do anything on social media. So what we want to focus on is putting yourself out there as much as possible, right? They charge you thousands for strategy calls, community lag, while your competitors is out posting you daily, right? When was the last time you looked up your competitor? Are you seeing them on social media? Do they dig you the wrong way when you see that content? You're like, oh man, they suck. Well, maybe you should be doing it too, right? So this is something that we want to talk about, is the trap of invisibility. A real world scenario that I just came across recently, and I see this all the time, is I meet people that are successful at what they do. They have, they make a ton of money. They might have a huge company. They have employees. They have all these things that are going well for them, but they're nowhere to be found on the internet. And you don't need to be on the internet to be successful, right? It just is something that's going to amplify you. I've met hundreds of people that have huge businesses and they've never done a social media video in their life. So I completely understand this. But think about it. Beyond your small network or the people that know you from, your daughter's soccer team or anything like that, think about it. How easy is it to find you online? When I Google search you, what actually comes up? When I search you on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, what actually comes up? And I think this is something that a lot of other agencies might lie to you about, and they might say, oh, it's fine, you don't need to put out social media content on a frequent basis, or you don't have to post videos like that. It's fine to just post these generic graphics and things. And I'm here to tell you that that's actually not true, right? So you really want speed on your side, want to make sure you're not invisible, and then you want to avoid this perfectionist ideology, right? Oh man, I have to make sure that it's perfect or I'm not going to post it, right? So these are three extremely important things to keep in mind. But when it comes to speed, we're really talking about right into the title of things, frequency. How often are you posting? How frequent are you putting yourself out there? The invisibility is the slow death for local businesses. If you're not out there right now, you are just seeing your business slowly go down. You might want to tell me otherwise, and maybe you're just a plumber right now and you're telling me that, and fair enough. Everybody, if you live in Long Island, everybody's pipes are bursting because it's freezing cold. I get that. But is it going to stay like that forever? I don't know. Especially with AI, especially with all these ways to get information so quickly, it does definitely pay to have yourself in these areas. And sometimes it doesn't cost us nearly as much as you might think. So let's jump to the next slide. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about our company here. So my name, again, is Tom LoFaso. Company is TLo Productions. We've been in business for about 6 years now. This company is everything to me. It's my passion. It's exactly what I love to do. Create content, help people grow, and see the success over time. So I built a system that helps people bring cinematic quality to social media. I basically tell most people that I work with, take your iPhone and throw it away. We don't want to see it anymore. Don't use it. We want to bring high quality cameras, just like this that you're seeing right now. We're filming on a 4K camera. I have a microphone right in front of me. So we have, as high quality as we possibly can without breaking the bank, right? Who wants to spend $1 million on crazy camera equipment and lighting and all this stuff when, it's affordable these days, and we can bring it to a level that blows people away, but at the same time isn't, breaking the bank. So we've worked with hundreds of businesses at this point, probably close to thousands, but definitely hundreds of businesses. Some local ones that you might know of are SUNation, Power 10, they're in Port Washington, B2K, they're a huge building company. We've seen some great success, right? So we don't just film shots, we build media arms, and that's what we are, right? I've built this company to be a media arm for people, to be their video guy, in a say. So let's actually jump over to that next slide, and we can jump in a little bit more about how we do this. And, in a sense, I'm not pitching anybody on this. This is really a mixture of me just giving advice and, explaining how we do this, right? But you can work with any company to do this. Just be careful who you work with, right? You want to make sure there's somebody that can keep up with this velocity engine that we're talking about, right? So, batching, super important. Batching is one of those things that it can take an hour to make 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 videos. And to me, that, sounds, oh, maybe that's a lot, maybe that's not. But if you put your time together within an hour or two and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to sit down, we're going to make the videos. Maybe you lean on your assistant that you have or your friend, or maybe you just work with AI for a little bit of time and say, hey, let me get some scripts together. Let me try and figure out some ideas. Let me think about some jobs that we've done in the past that I can, drive around and showcase, and spend some time getting content together. If it's going to be over an hour, if it's going to be over 4 hours, but put it in your calendar and make sure it happens. Now, when you work with a company like us, we've pretty much forced you to do this. We're going to harass you in the nicest way possible. And I say that to everybody that I work with. We will harass you in the nicest way possible. And I mean that, right? We want to make sure that you're keeping that, high velocity engine as, ramped up as possible, right? We want to make sure the RPMs are as high as we possibly can. So keep that distribution up through batching. So the next part is distribution, right? Everybody that we work with, we want to make sure that they're on multiple platforms. If I meet somebody who's like just on Instagram or just on LinkedIn, that goes back to our previous slide, which is the trap of invisibility. You're only in one place. There's no reason why you should just be posting on one platform when there is so many platforms out there and they're all free. Now, listen, there's platforms that might not be as fruitful as others, right? Even something like Twitter or X, right? Or Blue Sky. It's like, how many people are doing their, service research on those platforms? Maybe not. But TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, all of these platforms are great. And they also come up in Google searches. So when people are searching for products or services, or they're searching for questions related to your product or service, there's a great chance that it's going to come up. And I could show you dozens of examples with clients that we worked with, where if I Google search their name, their business, anything associated to them specifically, you will see a list of videos that pop up with them. That brings a ton of legitimacy and trustworthiness and authoritativeness to them. And those are the things that we want to pay attention to. It's also something that we're about to talk about in a few minutes, which is AI, right? So the other thing is the data, right? The algorithm rewards volume. Now, depending on what creator you're listening to or talking to, there's people out there like Mr. Beast. If you have young kids, you probably know who I'm talking about. Maybe you don't. He is an actual show on Amazon now, but he's probably one of the most famous creators there is. Things that he says is talking about, first off, make 100 videos and don't expect anything to happen of them. That's one of the things he talks about. And the other things he talks about is create maybe one video a month and put all your effort into that video as opposed to making a dozen videos, right? And I get that. But however, when you're a service-based industry, you're a little bit different than an influencer, right? When you're an influencer, yeah, you want to make that video where you're like, I'm going to think of the craziest thing that I possibly can. Like some of these guys where they're like, I'm going to stay in, every crazy Airbnb in America and I'm going to film it. It's like, yeah, that's a great idea, but it's going to take you weeks to film that and a lot of money and all of this. And if you're a lawyer or an insurance agent or a roofer, it's like, is it going to make sense to put that much effort into one video? Probably not, because it's not going to bring you that types of clientele. But what we have seen work as success is a frequency or a lot of short form content. And the data shows us that. So the way that we show this data is we take over the course of 12 months, right? So we look at impressions and we look at engagements. An impression, the way I explain this is like you're driving down the road and there's a billboard off on the right-hand side. You kind of see it, you kind of don't. By the second or third time you drive down that road, you start to register what that billboard says each time you go down the road. So an example I had recently is a restaurant. I kept driving past the restaurant and they had a happy hour. The first day I saw it was just from like 5 to 7. Didn't know what day of the week it was. Had no idea the name of the restaurant. The second day, now I saw the name of the restaurant. I still didn't know what day of the week it was. And then by the third time, I saw the day of the week, the name of the restaurant, the time that it is, right? And I start to register these things because I drove past it multiple times. So that's an impression. An engagement is when you're actually interacting with somebody's social media. If they're sharing your content, they're liking it, they're commenting on it, some sort of actual physical engagement online. These are two amazing metrics to pay attention to, and it's exactly what we showed to see that it's working. Now, with the impressions, we take the number, let's say it's I don't even know. I'd have to do some basic math, and I don't have a calculator in front of me. But we could take a number like 300,000 impressions, right? And then we divide that by 12 months, and then we divide that number by 30 days in a month, and we could see on a daily basis how many people are interacting or being impressed upon by your content in a sense, right? They're driving down the road and they're seeing those billboards, and a lot of times those numbers are pretty high. We've seen over 1,000 in a day. We've seen times where people are getting 30, 40,000 in a month. Pretty high engagement numbers. I'm sorry, impression numbers. When it comes to the engagement, this number might go down a little bit. However, the engagements are super important, right? We could see, maybe a few thousand engagements in a month, and the same thing. We're going to divide that by 30, and then we're going to get the number that we're looking for. So, which is great. Algorithms, they tell us a lot, and the data also will tell us, if this is working, right? So, all right, next, I want to talk a little bit about advertising. So this is cool, and I have a success story to kind of tie into this at the end, but it's something that a lot of people aren't paying attention to, right? So we don't always just stop on social media when we see like an ad or anything like that, or even a billboard, right? I'm talking, or we're driving down the road, we're not really paying attention to it as much. When you're sitting on your couch at home, you're hanging out, you're watching TV, there's a good chance you're going to see a commercial. Are you going to pay attention to it? Well, that's up to you. However, it's going to play in your house for 30 seconds, right? There's this great opportunity that a lot of people are unaware of right now. We're calling it the big screen effect because we've seen success from this, and we've heard people having great success stories of people recognizing them, right? So Hulu, Paramount, Roku, Amazon, Freevee, they're hyper local, these ads. So for example, right now we're in the studio, we're in Farmingdale. If I wanted to run ads like this, I could run them specifically in Farmingdale, and I could hit X amount of houses here. And it's usually anywhere from like 5 to 10 to 15 cents per house, something along those lines. So, it's a great way. All right, cool. Let's jump to the next slide because this is, very simple, but I just want to go into that a little bit, say something new. So this is cool. We have a great track record. We make a ton of videos here, a ton. I don't think most people understand how much effort goes into that, how many hours go into that, but we make about 250 plus videos a month. Depending on the month, it could be more, it could be a little bit less, but overall it's about 250 every month. And we've worked with a variety of companies to do this. Some companies are going to do 4 videos a month, some do 8, some do 12, and we have some that even do 20 and 30. Some that and I've spoken about before, but SUNation, B2K, there's another one, Elegant Affairs, Nationwide Mortgage. They don't hire videographers. They hire us as partners to help them grow their social media and do everything for them. They basically just give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down if they like it or if they don't like it. So we make it as easy as possible for these people. I'm just going to look at my time here. All right, we are flying through this right now. Oh, the camera went out. Let's take a look. Hang on 1 second, people. We're taking it. All right. Should be back up. There we go. All right, cool. Things happen. You can't avoid it, All right, cool. So let's jump into the media arm versus the rest. This is pretty cool. The media arm is basically how we work with clients, how we help them get to this level. Again, you can work with any company. Just keep in mind, these are the things that you should be paying attention to if you're trying to make social media content, right? You want to put yourself out there. You want to be consistent. You want to look legit. You want to have authority in your industry, right? So look at the numbers here, right? So 3 to 4 weeks is usually a typical turnaround time for your average agency. And a lot of times they're going to be trying to push you into these, if they're a video company, they're going to be pushing you into these highly cinematic videos that look like, movies or even music videos sometimes. And it's not really something that's going to benefit you. And then they're going to take a long time to give you that product. I can't tell you how many times I've heard this from other, clients or people that are working with people in my industry. And they're like, oh man, I did this video like 2 months ago and I just got it back. And it's like, that doesn't really work when you're the one that had, an event last week and you're trying to talk about it, or, you're trying to promote an event that you have coming next month and you didn't even get the video that promotes the event. So it's one of those things that you have to pay attention to, and it's super important to have a quick turnaround time, right? So we try and get videos done within 72 hours, but realistically, we could do it within 24 if somebody wants it, that quickly. The other thing is how many videos, right? So they're going to offer 1 to 2 in a month just because they're not going to be able to get that done. And a lot of times that only might be what you can get done on your own, right? You're like, oh, I only have time to do one video because it's going to take me 3 hours to, come up with an idea, film it, and then edit it on my own. And I'm probably only going to have enough time to do one video, right? Work with a team, you can have people crank out 8, 10, 12, 20 videos for you. And now you're set for the next month or 60 days or 90 days or anything like that. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. The other part is technology. Now, there's, I would say, maybe some like different information depending on where you go about things like posting platforms, right? So there's these companies out there that you could use where you could post on a ton of platforms at the same time. Maybe you've heard of them. Some are called like Monday, Later. We actually have one that we have a subscription to. It's called Metricool. I don't talk about using these platforms because we don't really like to. We're afraid to, in a sense. And there's rumors out there that they could kind of hurt your account by using these platforms. And what I mean is that you can set posts to go out on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn all at the same time on these platforms by just uploading your one video, putting your caption in, and clicking a button. Now, it's super easy for the average business owner or agency to use this model. However, there is rumors that what you're doing is you're basically allowing a bot to crawl on your behalf on your social media and post these videos or pictures or whatever it may be. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, they hate bots. They hate them. So it doesn't help you out in a lot of cases. It can actually hurt you. Now, yes, for the convenience factor, it's like, oh yeah, this is great. I can post it on, a bunch of platforms at once. However, you have to be super careful about that. You don't want something that simple to just hurt you. So we actually have, I should have brought it in here with me, but it's fine. I'll take a picture and maybe if you're at the next trade show event, we're gonna show it off. But basically, we have a bunch of phones, right? We obviously have access to computers and all that stuff, but we have several phones that we can log into these accounts and we can post manually at the time. So if we tell you we're going to post at 12 o'clock on Monday, we're going to post it about 12 o'clock on Monday, but manually. It's not going to go out at 12 on the dot. It's going to go out like 12:27 because that's the time that we got to posting it, right? But that's way better than using these platforms because we know we're not going to hit these algorithms in a way that they're going to say, oh, wait, is that a bot? We should downplay this. So we try and avoid that at all costs, right? And then the other thing is, right, expertise versus, a generalist. Another thing, I can't tell you how many times I hear this where, oh, I'm a website company, but we do social media, or I'm an advertising agency, but yeah, we can do social media for you. And all these people do is just turn around and call people like me, or they're looking at freelance videographers to do it all for them. They're not really focusing on this. It's just, a piece to it. And I understand that, right? We do websites. I don't talk about websites all the time. It's not my bread and butter. What I focus on is social media content. Now, websites are fantastic. I love doing them. We've done over 100 websites. I think we're really good at it. However, the social media is what I focus on the most, right? So that's what puts us in that niche. Now, from what I understand, there isn't a lot of companies in at least Long Island, but around the United States that do exactly this, where they help you create the content, they put you out there on a consistent basis, and most importantly, help you grow, right? All right, but let's jump to that next slide because I think, if I remember, okay, yeah, this one's a little bit more about the modern look. So kind of crazy right now, the next level that we're getting to. I keep seeing videos that are just like blowing my mind. I'm just like, whoa, that's crazy. I can't believe, that real estate agent or insurance agent or home inspector or whatever spent that kind of money on a video, or the editor, whatever. It looks amazing. So we want to make sure that we're keeping the modern look. iPhone videos definitely work. Using your phone as a camera, filming yourself, it absolutely works. But we know that there are specific ways that will help your business grow. So it's like, do you want to make influencer content and just reach more of your competition? Because I've seen that a bunch of times with people we work with roofers. Hey, look, I got 1 million views on this video. Great. Read the captions. It's a bunch of roofers. Last I checked, if you're a roofer, you can't sell roofs to roofers. Same thing with, eye doctors we've worked with. They want to make these, fun videos. And I love making fun videos, don't get me wrong. But then when you read the captions, it's just bringing in people in your industry. It's not helping you grow the business. So we want to make sure that we are putting you out there on a cinematic level, but we're also making sure that you're there to dominate in your industry, right? So somebody to look up, if you guys have a pen and paper in front of you, I would look up Alex Hermosi. He is a business coach. He's really, really successful right now with his funnels and what he's doing, but pay attention to the content that he's doing. It is high quality. It's not like a movie, it's not the craziest thing. It's not like dramatic lighting or anything like that, but it's nice, high quality, has some sort of microphone, and he's very, very, very consistent. The guy offers like several 8-hour courses for free. It's insane, but think about that value, right? So in the orange here, authenticity plus productive value equals trust. This has been the same thing for years. I mean, you could go back 200 years ago. If you were putting yourself, on center stage in Main Street every day, eventually you're an authentic, right? And you have some sort of value to people, and then they're going to trust you. It's the same thing here. Another client that I could just talk about because we have him written down here, which is Lynne Legal. He's down in Florida. He's a lawyer that we were working with. Now, the types of videos that we were making for Lynne Legal, I'll be honest with you, they don't really get me crazy excited. However, they work, and that is really all that matters. We probably made, I don't know, 50 plus videos at this point for Lynne Legal. I could be exaggerating, but something along those lines. And with him, we've seen success with AI reaching out to him, right? So people, not necessarily AI specifically, but people going to ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Perplexity, Grok, whatever, and they're looking for a lawyer that does exactly what he does, and then he's coming up as the search result. And we know, because I have access to his website and I can see the analytics, that these things are directly correlated with the work that we're doing, right? And it's a variety of things. Writing blogs is part of it, putting out, different types of, emails and things like that. But at the end of the day, video is probably the best thing that will increase your trust online, which will bring more AI to you, right? So this next slide, actually, we're going to talk a little bit about AI. Because the cinematic look, again, it's super important. I've said it a million times to people. You want to look like Nike and McDonald's without the billion-dollar budget. So that's what we're doing today. We have the opportunity to do it. So take advantage while we can, right? There's no reason why not. But all right, I want to talk about AI. AI is getting crazy. So I'm not going to go deep dive into this. I'm going to keep this kind of surface level. But overall, I want to talk about a specific program that we're using. If you're a small business owner, your ears should kind of like perk up a little bit because this program is fantastic. So if you're familiar with the company Wix, I'm a partner with them. I'm an expert with them. I've made over 100 websites, and I was just saying I don't really talk about this too much. We really try and focus on social media, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because it ties into social media. So integrating AI as your partner in business, and it's only going to get crazier and crazier and crazier. And you could watch this video in 6 months and it'll probably be irrelevant. But for right now, we know that this is something that is definitely extremely helpful, cost effective, and it's putting you out there so that more people, when they're searching for AI, can help you out. So basically, on Wix, on the back end, and there's other programs that do certain things, but we're passionate about this because they've integrated it so well. Where you build your site, and let's say you're somebody who already has a site. Well, maybe it's time for a new one, or maybe you just want to build a landing page or something along those lines. But the agent that they have on the back end allows SEO to be done every day with nobody doing anything other than, yes, I like it, no, I don't like it, right? And obviously you can adjust, the message that is being put out there. However, it's that consistent. Every day it'll put out some sort of blog for you. It'll update words on your website. It'll even do an FAQ page for you, and it'll update the facts as your business begins to change, right? Another thing it'll do for you is email follow-ups, right? You can literally have it answer messages at night while people are, on your website for you. If they're messaging you, it can answer that for you. More importantly, though, it can send emails. It can send a weekly email. It could send 2 emails a week. It could do one every other week, and it'll build a beautifully looking email. Super easy to use, right? And then the last thing it's going to do is, actually there's 2 more. It's going to run ads for you, which is great if you're somebody that likes to, run ads. And again, if you have several $1,000 budget to run ads, don't have AI run the ads. Go hire a human that can run them for you and make sure it's done correctly. However, let's say your budget is under $1,000 to run ads, probably a good space because the average person's most likely going to charge you $500 to $1,000 just to run the ads. So this is a great way to get some awareness out there and not waste all your money on an agency running those ads for you. And then lastly, social media. Duh, obviously, that's what we're talking about today, right? Social media and how important it is. It'll create social media posts. Now, I'm not saying this is the end all be all, this is the best thing to do. It's better than nothing. If you're somebody who's a busy business owner, you don't have any time to do this, you're tired of wasting money on, agencies that just fail you and you're tired of it, well, maybe it's time to just work with an agent that's just going to put things out for you and you can be kind of hands off. And that's what this program can do, right? So it can put out social media posts and it'll basically just make pictures for you and then write captions associated to it. That's it. It's not making videos. It's not, it's not getting you on camera and talking or anything like that. But it's going to put you out there on a consistent basis. And all you have to do, again, thumbs up, thumbs down. We highly recommend this if you are a small business owner. If this is something where you're like, no, I'm way too big of a company, I totally understand that too for you. But if you're having a conversation, you just meet somebody, you're like, hey, I just heard about this Wix AI agent. Do you have a website? Maybe it's worth a conversation. So it's a really cool tool. It's not something I talk about all the time, but I'm probably tapped into it at least 2 or 3 times a week. We have, I would say, I don't know, a dozen clients that we have linked up to this at this point. And some of them are actually paying us as a service to manage the AI for them and make sure that everything is done according to the way that they want. So it's one way that we can help somebody out. But let's jump into the next, which is success stories. So some local success stories. Maybe you know these companies, maybe you don't. We have about 40 different companies that we're working with right now. However, I've worked with hundreds and like I said, maybe even thousands at this point. There's so many businesses that I've been able to work with, help grow, and we've seen some amazing results. So first things first, SUNation. They've been a client. They're probably one of my oldest clients for about 4 or 5 years now. Solar company, super well known around Long Island. When they hired us, we were just filming for their solar panels. We were just flying the drone up in the air. We were making videos for them, anywhere from like 2 or 3 videos a month upwards to like 10 or 12 videos a month, depending on how busy they were. Now, that was again 4 or 5 years ago. Fast forward to now, we run all of their social media accounts. Well, we've created accounts that they didn't even have, like TikTok, and we get probably thousands of views every single month on their channel. But the coolest thing that I have to say about them as being a success story is that when I started with them, they were just considered a local company, right? They were just a Long Island-based local company. Right now, as of I think probably close to 2 years ago now, they're on the stock market. So they're probably one of the largest solar companies in the United States. Now, am I going to say all the videos is everything to do with that? Probably not, but it has definitely a huge impact on that, right? Because it's their awareness. That's what they're putting out there. And yes, they run ads and they do a lot of different things, but the person behind all of the things that you see when you look up SUNation, it's me. It's our company, TLo Productions. We've been doing this for 4 or 5 years, and everything that they've put out visually is something that we've done for them, which is pretty amazing. Another client is K9 Advance. And K9 Advance, she's, a local dog trainer. She's based out of the Islip area. She does travel all over the place. And she's great. She's been doing it for like, I want to say 15, 20 years. And that I might be exaggerating, but something along those lines. She's really good at what she does. A local success story with her was, so one of the things that we offer as a service is we will pretend to be you on social media. So we will be logged in, part of the, several phones that we have, and we will, like, comment, follow, interact, very simple things. But we will go on Instagram or Facebook or any platform, LinkedIn, and we will engage and just try and spread the word of who you are. With K9 Advance, we ended up liking and following a gentleman that had a pit bull. Nothing out of the norm. We're just on social media. A lot of times we'll, find a local deli in the area and we'll see who liked the most recent post and we'll follow a bunch of those people. And it's probably one of the things we did that day. And that gentleman ended up reaching out to her, and K9 Advance booked him as a client, and she made $5,000. To me, that's wild. All we did was follow somebody on social media, and that triggered him to reach out to this person to then book a service with her. He didn't need a referral. He didn't need anybody telling him to go talk to this person. He, maybe he looked at her Google reviews. Maybe he looked at her on other social platforms. I don't know. But at the end of the day, he found her on social media. No advertising, no ad dollars behind it, nothing like that. So it's amazing to see that, right? Not everybody gets that kind of, results, within 6 months or whatever, but it takes time. You consistently put yourself out there. So this next client is a perfect example of putting yourself out there. So just to tell you that story, K9 Advance, we've been working with for about, I would say, think it's 11 or 12 months. Somebody we've been working with a little bit longer, which is the North Shore injury lawyer. Now, this gentleman has been making a ton of videos. We do about 8+ videos a month with him, and I think we're on month 19 or 20 of working together. So we've been working together for some time now. The coolest thing with him is his success story actually has something to do with putting him out there on advertising services like Hulu and Paramount and Amazon and Roku, these advertising services. So people are at home watching TV, etc. So last time I saw Mark, he's telling me that he's at the grocery store and he's just down the produce aisle and, he's just looking at whatever. And some guy who's standing like off to the side behind him is just like, hey, you were on my TV. I saw you yesterday. You were on my TV 3 times. You're that guy. You're that lawyer. And he's telling me this. I'm just smiling ear to ear because I think it's hilarious and awesome at the same time. And that's exactly what happens, right? The more you put yourself out there, the more people start to recognize you. And this is amazing, right? We see this time and time and time again. So jumping back to K9 Advance, the same thing has happened to her, right? She was out at a bar recently and she told me, hey, I was at this bar and the waitress literally recognized me from TikTok and was like, hey, I see you on my TikTok feed all the time. If you're somebody that likes dogs, you probably will come across her channel, right? Not everybody likes lawyers as much, right? Or solar panels as much. So it's a little bit different there. However, if you're in an industry that has some fun behind it, we definitely will focus on that. If you're in an industry where you're just more of like a service and it's not too, sexy in a sense, well, then we just need to focus on what makes you different, focus on the transparency. And that goes into our AI conversation, which is the acronym that AI gives us, which is EAT. And the acronym is what makes you come up in AI searches: experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. If you can represent those 4 keywords, then AI will bring you out more. And all 3 of these companies that we're looking here represent that wholeheartedly. They've made a ton of content. There's a lot of people that represent, hey, I've worked with them and they've done a great job. Here's my testimonial, right? And we've been able to help them with that. We've published testimonials, we made videos about testimonials, and then we've showcased their education, how great they are, what they do. We've showcased, their success stories, their before and afters, and that's exactly what you have to do in today's world, right? So, all right, cool. This is all good stuff. We are moving right along. Let's jump to the ROI page. So, all right, I think this is something that everybody should focus on. I get excited, I get giddy about this type of thing, but basically the ROI of velocity, the ROI of frequency, right? Because content is king and frequency is the crown. So companies posting 8 or more videos a month see a 4 times increase in conversion. I'm going to say that one more time. Companies posting 8 or more videos a month see a 4 times increase in conversions. If you don't understand that, I can explain it more in depth for you. I will use myself as an example. We post videos extremely often. I myself have put myself on camera more and more often. The more I put myself out there on video, in blogs, in different podcasts with people, the more my business grows. I could show you the numbers if you want to come to the office. I will be happy to open up the books and say, hey, check it out. From day 1 to day 6, basically, this is where we are, or year 6, right? It's not magic, it's math. That's literally what this is. The velocity is the only way to beat this noise that's happening in the world, or, the water that's all bloody in your industry. Because let's face it, let's say you're a roofer, let's say you're a plumber, let's say you're a CPA, an insurance agent. There's a million of you guys out there, a realtor, a mortgage broker. It's like, good luck. How do you make yourself stand out? Like I said, it's not magic. You just have to do it consistently. And I've seen this time and time and time again. I can show you any client that I've worked with that stays consistent, that takes our advice on these videos. Every one of them, their business grows. And we hear things like this. We just had a client, oh, I just bought a Z06 Corvette. I'm like, sick, that's a $100,000 Corvette. Oh, I just bought a brand new house. That's fantastic, good for you. I didn't even know that you were looking for a house. Or another one, I just hired 2 new employees to help us grow this business. I was like, oh, great. Or another one, I just hired a sales team. I hired these 2 people to be on a sales team for me. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I guess business must be good if you're hiring a sales team, right? These are the things that I get to hear, to see that posting consistently on social media equals a business that thrives more. But it has to be done correctly. It's not just about posting more often, right? Anybody can take their phone out and just snap a picture and hit post. It's not going to work. Anybody could just post some generic flyer that says Happy President's Day. It's like, great, but that doesn't work. What works is high quality, consistent content. Like I said, make yourself look like Nike and McDonald's without the $1 billion budget. It's so important. So if this is something that you have questions about or whatever, you let me know. We're happy to jump on a call with you. Basically, what I want to offer to everybody today is some sort of 15-minute session. I can have actually Nicole, who's sitting behind the computer here. You could actually do me a favor, because I forgot to tell you this earlier, is go on our calendar and drop in the meeting link. If you want to book a call with me, I'll drop in a link here in the chat, and you can book a call with us. I'll put it in for an hour. You can take as much time as you want. I'm happy to just chat with you. I love this, as you could tell. I'm super passionate about just chatting and all those things. So let's book some time to chat it up. All right, cool. Last thing is questions. If anybody has any questions, if you're ready to stop being a content creator and start being the CEO of your brand, then we're happy to help you out. So I have a few spots open basically for strategy. My calendar is kind of crazy, so I'm forewarning you if you get this link to the calendar, it's a little bit crazy. So and I can email it out as well if anybody has any issues there. But you can also go to the website as well, tloproduction.com. I'll also plug this in there. There is a DIY guide. The DIY guide is free. It'll teach you how to create videos completely on your own, which is super easy in some senses, and then others you're like, okay, maybe this is too much. So we're happy to help you build though a dedicated media arm to own the market. Make yourself stand out, look better than everybody who's in competition with you, right? So all right, we'll get you guys that link in just a little bit. But does anybody have any questions before we wrap this up? I think we're kind of flying right along here. Yeah, we're wrapping up a little bit early, which is good. Happy to do so. I'll leave it open to questions. Cool. Did you find the link? Are you having trouble? Okay. Hang on, people. I'll grab the link in case anybody. All right. Yeah, we'll drop that link in there, and if anybody wants it. But I appreciate everybody jumping on here. Like I said, we can book a strategy session. It can be 15 minutes. We could do an AI evaluation. The AI evaluations are great. You can kind of see what the AI knows about you. Oh, okay. What do you got? Thank you, Paul, for asking that question. So, how long are the videos that we create? It depends, but some people are gonna say, all right, the shortest video is the best, right? Oh, if you put a short video out there. It really comes down to the hook. So you have 3 seconds to pull somebody in. Within those 3 seconds, if you don't have them, they're most likely swiping it away. So we always say, focus on the hook. You can make the video as long as you want. Now, when it comes to social media, 60, 90 seconds is pretty much the max, and it depends on the platform, right? Some creators, and this is something to think about when you're looking at other agencies, they might not know, oh, what's the longest video that you can post. I had somebody, this is an agency, they asked me this last week. They said, how do I get a video as a short on YouTube? And I was just like, how do you not know the answer to that question? I was like, you just have to post a video under 60 seconds and then it'll pop up as a short. So 60 seconds or less, I think, is a great way. So then you can be across all the platforms. You can kind of hit it, no problem. 60 seconds is a lot of time. Sit here, stare at the clock for 60 seconds, and you're gonna be like, okay, yeah, that's a decent amount of time. You should be able to get your point across, tell everybody who you are, what you do, what makes you different, where they can find you, or just have some fun educating people. So hopefully that answers your question. Say that one more time. Their cost per leads doubled. Yeah, yes, 100%. A lot of people are actually experiencing cost per lead going up. It's tricky, right? I mean, what kind of business is I wonder if we have that in there, but it's fine, irrelevant. Depending on what business you're in, it's obviously going to be more money. I know lawyers that can spend anywhere from like 150 to 350 for a lead, basically. Um, it's getting crazy out there. The water is getting bloody, as we say. So if there's, if you're a lawyer and you have all these other big firms out there and they're spending 10, 15, 20, 50, $100,000 a month and your budget is only like $2,000 and your cost per lead's going up, well, then you should be rethinking your marketing strategy. If at one point you were getting 50 leads a month and now you're getting 25 and you're spending the same amount of money and you're only closing, 10% of those 25, again, you should probably be rethinking your marketing strategy. Now, there's different ways to capitalize on your cost per leads. If you're running video ads, make better videos. Or if you're running like ads that have some sort of picture or video to it, create something that is a little bit more engaging, that gets people a little bit more excited about it. You can also offer a better service, right? So there's something about tacking on things to your service. An example I have about this is I can't remember the name of the gentleman, but he is an author of a book, very successful. Russell Brunson, that's who it is. If anybody knows, really amazing guy. But he talks about how he had a company, and this is probably like 10 years ago when the algorithm changed, where he was making, I believe it was potato launchers, which is hilarious, but it was a kit on how to make, it was just a course on how to make potato launchers. And then the cost per lead changed. And all of a sudden, his company that was making a ton of money off of people buying a course at like $20, now his cost per lead was basically, he's not making any money. If anything, he's probably negative. And he was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Ready to close business. And what he came up with was the idea of, okay, how can I provide something more that will, I can still do the same types of advertising, but I will get more in return from it. So what he did is he came out with a kit for these potato launchers to sell with the course. So basically the course was $20, but the kit was like 150. And if you wanted both together, he did like some sort of combo deal. And that's my recommendation, is that if your cost per lead's going up, then rethink, in a sense, maybe your product or service. There's something that you could do there that will increase that so you could still keep running ads. The other side of it is just lean on the organic stuff more. If you're running ads and that's where you're getting most of your business, but I go to your Instagram and you have nothing there, what are you doing? Focus that money on that side as well. Spread the wealth a little bit, and you'll start to see, forget your cost per lead. It'll go up as the people that are coming through. If you get 25, you're only closing 10 right now, you'll close 50% if you have, more of this content, right? You look more legit. So hopefully that answers your question. Changes in client video needs over the past year. Yeah, I would definitely say I've seen a lot of them. It's one of those things that I think, being in my position, some people don't feel comfortable telling me that they're, that, hey, I want this, or the style changes or whatever. And, it sometimes could turn into, hey, we're not working with that client anymore. And it's hurting, because you're like, wow, we could do anything. We could create any types of video. And that's what I was saying before about, this bar is being raised crazy high, right? So anything you see on the internet, if you come to me and say, hey, I want this, I can make it for you. Literally anything. It's like, we have the ability. The editors we work with are second to none. They're some of the best guys I've met when it comes to editing content. But that bar is being held pretty high. So it used to just be like simple, hey, put me on camera, give me some simple subtitles. Now people want a little bit more animation in the subtitles. I've seen people kind of like, I'm standing here and you're like cutting me out of this and putting things behind me, or even text behind me. Things that require a little bit more effort on the editing part, but it's totally doable. And that's one of the things I've probably seen most often. That is a big change right now, is that people are trying to raise this bar little by little by little. And clients are telling us, hey, I want to look like this guy, or hey, I saw this video and it got a few million views. I want to create something just like that. And our answer always is like, okay, let's do it. Let's give it a shot. Obviously, I'm going to bring in my marketing expertise and say like, why, or, do we think this is a good idea, etc. But if you're gung-ho about it, we're your media arm. We're here to help you make some content. So that's what we're going to do. So hopefully that helps you out. Anybody else? Cool. Awesome. I mean, I've enjoyed this. I hope everybody else has as well. And like I said, there's a link in the chat. You can book a call with us. Please do. You could talk to myself specifically. We could spend an hour on a Zoom call, and we could go over what you're doing, how we can help you out. I can even guide you in a direction. Maybe it's not even working with me, and that's okay. I'm happy to just, give that information to you. Again, this is something I'm super passionate about. I've been doing it for about 5-6 years with TLo Productions. But sales and marketing is like everything that I love. I nerd out on this stuff all the time. So um, if I can help you in any way, please do not hesitate. Again, go to the website, tloproduction.com. If you want to come check out this beautiful studio we have here as well, we are located in Farmingdale, New York. And you could do podcasts in here or whatever you might be. So we hope to see you at the next one. We're going to have another webinar next month. We're going to be doing it month after month. We'll probably drop that information, I would say, within the next day or so. We need to kind of get on our high horse about that one. But it'll be something similar. We're just going to find a different topic to talk about. One of these topics, we're going to go heavy into AI. I've done a lot of research on this stuff, and we're using a ton of tools that are really cool. But yeah, we're just going to really talk about, how important this is and how to help you grow. And hopefully I can help you do that. So stay tuned for the next one. If you missed it or you're just chiming in, we will post this on YouTube shortly. And like I said, if you have questions, hit me up. Thank you again, everybody, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. We'll see you at the next one.